Welcome to the Keeping It Positive podcast, presented by the Positive Inception, helping people become more positive and trying to make the world a better place, one episode at a time. And now here's your host, Ryan Benoit.
Hello, hopefully your day is going well. Thank you so much for tuning in to another great episode of Keeping It Positive. This episode, our special guest is Alain Valiquette. I can't say enough good things about him. I got to meet him a little bit more through our time with the Laurentian hockey team. He's such a great guy, and over the years we've been able to stay in touch. He comes to the store from time to time, and it's an honor to have a guy like him part of the brand. The person he is, the values that he has, his character, his demeanor. He's just an all around great guy, and you can tell with being a firefighter how selfless he is, how he cares about others, and every time he walks into the store, it makes me smile because he comes in with his huge smile, his larger than life personality, and you can really see it through him how caring he is, how personable he is, and he's like that with everyone, whether he's on a hockey team or as a firefighter or anything he does. He's the glue guy. I always say everyone loves being around him, and he creates a special environment, and he always makes people feel like they matter, and he cares about everyone. He wants everyone to have a good time. He wants everyone to be included, and he's just a solid guy. We talk in this episode. We talk a little bit about his hockey career, growing up in Sudbury, playing for the Sudbury Wolves, playing and for Laurentian University, Western as well. A little bit of his experience with that, and we talk a little bit about his pro career. So it was a lot of fun, and with him being a firefighter and starting off as a police officer too, we dive into that, and I think it's just a great conversation between two good buddies, and I always love chatting with him, and he addresses it in the episode when he comes in. He looks for a hat, but he stays for an hour, and we just catch up, and it makes me feel so good to have a friend like him, and seeing all his success uh, uh, career-wise, but also personally too, and him being a new father to baby Olivia. I couldn't be happier for him, and all this success personally and professionally. He deserves nothing but the best. But without further ado, I hope all of you enjoy this episode. Everyone that knows Al loves Al, and he's just that type of special guy. So this was an awesome episode. At the end of the episode, I just wanted to let you guys know it didn't load properly, so there might be it might sound a little different within the last 10 minutes or so. But I really hope you guys enjoy this interview because it's with a very quality person, and Al's one of the best and someone I look up to a tremendous amount. So without further ado, enjoy this episode with Alain Valiquette. Perfect, Al. We're good to go. We're recording, and
Awesome.
I can I can't thank you enough for doing this. And
Anytime.
uh,
Come on.
and
My pleasure.
every time I see you, you always light up my world, so to say. I
Come
know it's
on.
cheesy, but
Come on.
every time you walk into the door at the store, I always get so excited.
Well, you know what, dude?
You
Honestly, I appreciate that, but the feeling is mutual. The feeling is absolutely mutual. I love seeing you. Love seeing you. Love what you're doing. Unbelievable. Yeah. It's, I feel like every time, like, we don't see each other often, but whenever I do come in the store, it's like we pick up where we left off. Love
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I see you with your big smile and your personality, and
I appreciate that,
just
buddy.
I think whenever people are around you, you just make everything a little bit better, and I think that's just who you are, right? And the way I wanted to kind of start this, there was so many different ways that I thought about doing it, but like when I think about like the Sudbury community,
Mhm.
I think of like you are a perfect like person would describe Sudbury. Very kind, very hardworking, like a very good role model. Blue collar. You love to serve others, and I think you're the perfect, not poster boy, but you're a very good example of what Sudbury kind of represents. And I just wanted to kind of maybe start with that, like growing up in Sudbury, and what kind of helped you, has it kind of shaped you to who you are today?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. Really appreciate it. Very nice of you to say. Yeah, no, growing up in Sudbury was honestly like it's kind of one of those things. Like I don't really know anything else, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't change anything. I mean, it was great, going to camp in the summers, and you know what I mean. Like I think Sudbury, you get a little bit of the best of both worlds, or in the sense that it's not too big in the sense, but you still get the city feel from it, and then you still have
yeah,
all the recreation side of it too. You know what I mean? So I feel
sure.
like that kind of shaped me in the sense where I love being outdoors. And, like it was just yeah, it was really a good place to grow up in, and all my friends are a lot of my friends are still here. Most of my friends are from here. Most of my family is here, and it's just yeah, and it's part of the reason why I'm still here. You know what I mean? It's friends and family, and yeah, it's I wouldn't change it. It's been a lot of fun.
And I think you and I are very similar when it comes to like friend groups. A lot of our friends are from high school or elementary school, and it's cool to kind of keep in touch with that, right? And having that small town feel. But even though Sudbury is small, it's still big in so many ways, and there's so many great people that make it what it is. And like you said, there's so much to be able to do, like to be able to if you like the outdoors or whatever it might be. And I think it's just we make it what it really is. And I think it's truly the people, like you said, with family and friends. Is I think wherever they are, home is, that's what makes Sudbury so great. And when I kind of did a bit of an outline for our podcast, like I I want there's so many things to dive into, and I'm super excited. Whenever we see each other, we always talk a little bit of hockey and about what's going on in your career and different things like that. I want to touch a little bit on everything, and I think when we first really met is with the Laurentian University hockey team, and I knew you from a little bit before, but you probably won't remember this, but the first the first time I met you, you did a presentation when you were playing with the Wolves, and you came to my elementary school when you were with C&D, and like you were like recruiting or doing a
Oh, I
presentation,
remember
and
that. Okay, I
and,
remember that.
and
Yes.
I thought that was so cool. Like, oh, like he plays for the Wolves, and he's coming to do a presentation, and like nowadays, like we're buddies, but like it's amazing to see like the evolution of you from that high school kid to the man you are today. And I just thought about that this morning on the ride here, and I think it's so special to kind of see the evolution, right? And I wanted to maybe talk a little bit about your experiences when you started with the Wolves. You were able to play 4 or 5 seasons, and maybe talk a little bit about that. And I think that's such a special kind of moment.
Oh yeah. Well, so to go back on that presentation, I still remember my teacher asked me, it's like, hey, like when we're doing a presentation and stuff, it's like, you want me to be the guy? Are you sure? She had a speech. I remember she had a speech ready for me, and I absolutely butchered it. But hopefully I didn't come off too bad.
Yeah.
But
Oh, you did great.
no, but yeah. So sorry. So what was what was the question? Sorry about.
Yeah, I guess just to kind of rephrase it, like being a hometown kid, I guess, how was it to play for your hometown
Oh
team,
yeah,
and like what was the experience like?
yeah. it was really cool. Like, especially like, growing up playing hockey here, you know, going to Wolves games, I still remember the eras, like the different eras, like
Mhm.
pretty much from the early 2000s on. I have a really good memory. I remember the goalies that played for that team, and I remember being a goalie and going to watch these goalies play and trying to, like, you know what I mean, get like get a feel for what they were doing, and that kind of thing. And so playing in that building in front of a hometown crowd, was really, it was great. I feel like I was very fortunate in the sense that not everybody gets to experience that. And
Mhm.
um, I I got to play junior hockey, and I still lived at home, and you know, yeah, I wouldn't change my experience, for anything. I thought it was great. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Um, and yeah, and more importantly, I just play with great people. I had good coaches, play with great people, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Looking back on it, it was one of those things. Like, I still remember getting drafted to Sudbury, and like what that day was like, and how excited I was, and going to my first training camp, and all that kind of stuff. It was awesome. It was awesome,
And not a lot of people get to play in the OHL, let alone their hometown
for
team,
sure.
right? And doing doing research for this body, like seeing some of the players that you played with, right? And seeing them have like go having success in the NHL, like Felino's or Mark Stahl or Jared Stahl too, and like there's so many players, right? And I think just being able to grow up to be able to play for so long too, and meet so many people and travel across the the province too. That must have been such a cool experience, and being able to continue your hockey career, like going to Western for a year, and then coming to back full circle back to Laurentian, and being a big part of starting that new program. That must have been like really special as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and you know, like I said, growing up in Sudbury, playing in Sudbury, I feel really fortunate. You know what I mean? My looking back and see what my parents went through. You know what I mean? To kind of give me those opportunities,
Mm.
is was unbelievable. Um, and yeah, like, and obviously, I left for a year, and went to Western and stuff, and as good as an experience as that was, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a massive adjustment for me. You know what I mean? Because I was in school playing, when I was playing in Sudbury, but and then you go into full time university, and then that's kind of like, all of a sudden the focus isn't just 100% hockey. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You have school to worry about and stuff, and that was that was a big adjustment. And then, I mean, technically, it was my first time away from home, right? Because, like we talked about, like, playing in Sudbury and stuff like that. That was my first time being away, so that was definitely, it was just it was a big change all at once. And kind of got to the point where, like, I wasn't the starter anymore. You know what I mean? I was a new kid coming in, and you know what I mean. You're not playing as many games. You know what I mean? I think at the time we were
Mhm.
playing like maybe 20 games during the regular season, and I was maybe playing after January. I was playing maybe like once every third game. So so then, and I'm only playing like twice a month. So then, it kind of like, taking a step back, and it's just like, holy geez, like, I'm not really feeling, like this, like the schooling part of it. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not, like, I'm not playing as much as I had hoped, even though, I was playing pretty good and stuff like that. It's just, but the guy that I was playing with, it was unbelievable, was an unbelievable goalie, right? And he was older, and he was a veteran and all that kind of stuff. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, it was a massive adjustment. So then like when Laurentian kind of that opportunity um, came to me, I was just like, oh yeah, like that seems like that would be a good fit. Get to go back home, get to kind of settle in a little bit, and get to be part of a new program, that kind of thing. So yeah, I feel really fortunate that I was able to to be part of that team, and it was yeah, like it was just a lot of fun, and like the guys that I played with and stuff, and like how it was
Yeah,
in the
they're
room and
awesome.
stuff. It was great. It was great. Like as good as
And
Western was, but I really feel like you know I I, I made the most of that opportunity when I came back to Laurentian. I was very fortunate to have that opportunity for sure.
and I think that it's such a cool perspective because when when you were at Western, it was a little more difficult, right? You were starting every 3 games, and now going to Laurentian, you're the guy. I remember when you decided to come, and with my internship, I was working with the coaches and stuff, and they were so excited, like we got our guy, and then instead of being a backup playing every 3 games, you were the starter, right? Which is cool. I think sometimes you live experiences and it's hard at the time, but it kind of shapes you who you are today, right? And going to Western away from home and figuring things out and playing and not playing as much, but and then learning from the other goalies and players and learning how to do time management and how to be successful in school and how to manage hockey and cooking and doing all that stuff and try to maybe party a little bit in between too, right? And it is such a different kind of whirlwind, and I think Laurentian, it gave you an opportunity to be at ease, right? And be what you're used to, being able to play a little bit more and reconnect back home, and it was it may be a little bit similar to playing with the Wolves too, playing for your hometown team, and your friends and family can come watch, and it was probably easier in that way because I never lived away from home, and I feel like I would have a hard time moving away because friends and family are so important. But and I think it's all about, I think what you said too is making the most out of your opportunities, right? And sometimes things don't work out the way we wanted to, but it gives us a redirection into something bigger and better. And your experience with the Voyagers, and now is your opportunity to make it bigger and better. And I think there's a great quote. It's like, um, uh, when you have the opportunity, make the most of the opportunity of a lifetime within the lifetime of the opportunity, right? And I think when you do get an opportunity, um, trying to make the most of it and squeeze all the potential that you possibly can, right? I think that's what kind of life is all about. And being able to be successful with Laurentian, it kind of gave you other opportunities to keep going a little bit and have other amazing memories in the ECHL and different things like that. And I know you just played a few games and you had a PTO in the AHL. Like maybe talk a little bit about that too. And I think that's such a special experience, unique experience, because not a lot of guys are able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I when I was in my last year at Laurentian, I basically I basically thought it's like, okay, like I had mentally prepared myself, like this is my last year playing hockey. You know what I mean? Like after this, like we're going into the playoffs. It's like this is my last chance to make the most of it. You know what I mean? And we ended up we ended up getting booted out of the playoffs. And then I remember, like mentally, I think I was okay with being done playing at that point. And then I think it was like not even a week after we were done. Then I got a call from um, a coach in Elmira in the ECHL, and I just I remember I was just like so surprised because, like you said, like it wasn't really a common thing, to be done playing Canadian University and then having the opportunity to go play pro. And I think timing, I think, was a big part of that. And so I think I remember thinking to myself, like, I was just like kind of like everything now is just bonus. You know what I mean? Because I had already accepted like kind of like being done. And then so then when I got the opportunity to go play there, I just like, okay, let's go. Let's have fun with this. You know what I mean? I got nothing to lose. I got nothing to lose because my career was done in my mind. You know what I mean? And so sure enough, I go there. I remember, I think traveling on the game day, I think I driven over like 10 hours just to make it to the rink um, on the game day. And I was absolutely fried. And I
Yeah.
remember um, like after the first period, boys weren't, we weren't having the best game. The team wasn't having the best game and stuff. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, oh man, like, is this actually going to happen? Like, am I going to have to go in here? And then sure enough, second period, after that, like, I just finished driving 10 hours, absolutely fried. You know what I mean? It's like, get to the rink, warm up, get dressed. Okay, you're out there. And then sure enough, I get put in. And I remember, I don't think I've ever been so nervous in my life, honestly. It was just like so crazy because it just happened. Everything just happened so fast. You know what I mean? It's like I got the call, and then the next day, it's like I'm in the net, and it's
Yeah.
And I remember like my first couple. I remember my first couple saves, and I had even guys on the other team like come up to me like tapping me on the pads and stuff like that because they kind of knew. You know what I mean? They knew I was like this call up or whatever, and they're just like, oh geez, like this guy's getting an opportunity. Here we go. So that was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gave me it kind of put me at ease a little bit. You know what I mean? After that, it's like the kind of nerves kind of went away, and it's just like, okay, we're just playing. We're just playing. And I
Yeah.
kind of I kind of had that mindset for a little bit, and it was just and then I just kind of got in the rhythm. I got in the rhythm, and just kind of just went out there and did my best. But it was such a crazy time in the sense that like everything just happened so fast. You know.
And sometimes that happens, right? When you blink and you're like playing, it's like I just like being able to drive. It is everything kind of aligned perfectly, right? And it might not be the best situation, but like the first couple of shots that you get in, you get into a groove, right? And it's just like you've been playing a game your entire life, right? And being able to like being able to do that, right? And just like soak it all in. And even though you're nervous, sometimes nerves are good because it means that you care so much, right? You're saying, I've never been so nervous in my life. It's just because you wanted to do a good job, and it's in a different environment, and a different team, but all in all, it's all the same thing, right? It's all hockey to some extent, and just to be able to, I love what you said too, is just to try to do your best, and whatever opportunity that we get in life, it's all about trying to do your best, and I think being able to roll with the punches too, and I think being able to take a risk and saying yes to that phone call and driving 10 hours, and you had no idea what was going to happen, right? And I think trying to make adjustments and face the challenges, and I think it allows you to kind of grow. And I think in life, like, it's important to kind of say yes no matter what, because you don't know how good an opportunity can be, right? And it can change your life for the better.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like to go back, like you're talking about, just like talking about nerves. Like I remember, when I first started playing, it was almost like crippling. You know what I mean? Like the nerves that I felt. You know, and it wasn't until probably like later in my career where I was really able to like kind of harness that and just kind of flip it in the sense that it just like that just means I'm ready. You know what I mean? It's like I'm
Mm.
prepared. Like it was like it's okay to be a little bit nervous if you're prepared. You know what I mean? That's kind of
Yeah.
what I had in my head. But it took me a while. It took me a while to get there. But but yeah, but I feel like when it, like at that point, like you said, like make the most of your opportunity, and like I felt those nerves. It's like through my experiences previously, I was able to kind of just kind of make the best of it, and kind of flip the switch mentally, in the sense that it's like, okay, like what I'm feeling right now is not a bad thing. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's just energy. It's just energy, and it's like, as long as you're looking at it and, but in a positive way, um, yeah, I was able to make the most of it, and that's what allows you to perform at your best, essentially. You know what I mean? It's just having that kind of positive mindset, positive self talk, and just not let it, and just having like what, just knowing like whatever you're feeling is completely natural, but it's the way that you look at it that's the most important thing, for sure.
And I think that that's so great. Like when you're saying when it took you a long time to get there, but having that positive attitude and a positive perspective and being prepared, right? Because when you think about it, you've been prepared because you've done all those reps, you've done all the work to get there, and then the game is the easy part, right? It's the stuff before the games, the practices, the workouts, the this and that, to to get you prepared for those those moments. And when I get nervous, like we were talking about just before coming on, I always get nervous doing these, and I don't know why. But even when I do speeches, or even when I like do presentations or whatever it is, like I always try to trick my mind and saying I'm not nervous, I'm just
That's
excited.
it. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
nervous and excitement are kind of the same thing, and if you can trick your brain into thinking to sorry, if you can trick your brain into thinking that, right, and that helps as well. And I think there's no matter what we do, no matter what chapter in our life, there's always going to be new things. There's always going to be new obstacles and challenges, and being able to face our challenges. That's how we grow. And I kind of wanted to maybe transition a little bit from the hockey stuff and talk a little bit about your career. And like as a police officer, I know it was a short stint, but now you're a firefighter as well. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the two, like maybe start off with as a police officer, because that's how you started your career. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about like even though it was a short stint, or like, but there must have been some great moments. And like what are some of the most like impactful or rewarding aspects of your time as a police officer?
Yeah, well, so to kind of go back, I was applying to both jobs, like kind of coming out of university, um,
Okay.
like that year. I kind of in my head is like, I'm going to apply to both. I'm going to apply to both, and then whatever job I get first, that's what I'm going to do. And then, sure enough, I get, policing came first. They hired more. There's more opportunity in
Yeah.
policing, and sure enough, I got the job. And that kind of came around, like it came about like a lot of the guys that I had played with, that I played hockey with, were becoming police officers. You know what I mean? So it's just like, hey, like these guys are getting jobs. I'm talking to them, say, hey, how do you like it? And they're telling me about their experience and how much they loved it and stuff. So I was just like, okay, I could see myself, kind of doing this. So sure enough, I get I get the job. I go to police college, which was awesome. Um, yeah, like the training was really fun. It's a really intense kind of 3 months. You know what I mean? Like um, you're out in I'm trying to think where it is now. I'm having a little bit of a brain fog moment
Is
right now.
it,
But yeah, like
is it Aurelia?
no, it wasn't Aurelia. So OPP is in Aurelia, and then we were in Elmer. I think Elmer in Elmer
I
Police
guess
College. Yeah.
I should know this because I went to my buddy's
Oh
graduation,
yeah, there you go.
and
There you go. Yeah.
yeah,
And so
I've
so
been to
coming
the police
out.
college.
Oh, sorry.
I've been to the police
Oh
college.
yeah,
It's pretty awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a great setup, and it was. I felt like it was a great experience. Had a lot of fun, met some great people, and yeah, and then I was on. I think I was probably on the road. Because by the time I got hired, then there's like all the training. There's some in-house training, and then I went to police college throughout the summer, and then I think after that I was on the road for maybe like 7 months, and so it was it was definitely like coming out of police college, and then you kind of come out to like the real world of policing. It's
Mhm.
like nothing can really, I think, like prepare you for that, in a sense. Like you can prepare as much as you want, but you don't really know until you're in it. If that makes
Oh, for
if,
sure.
if that makes any sense, yeah. And
Mhm.
as good of an experience as it was, it was. I remember like it felt like to me it was a bit of a grind. You know what I mean? Especially with the shifts and the shift work, the nights and stuff. After a while, it kind of got to me a little bit in the sense that you know we were we were short a lot of the time, and it was tough. And then I I have nothing but respect for police officers, that do that day in and day out, because I got a little bit of a taste of it, and it's hard work. It's hard work, as rewarding as it is. You know what I mean? Because you're helping people. You deal with a
Mhm.
lot of negativity too, because you're dealing with people at their worst at the end of the day. And that part was probably, I find, was the most challenging. Um, but the people that I worked with, like I'm still buddies with a lot of them, for sure. And
Yeah.
I keep touch with a lot of those guys. And I think that's what made that's what makes it kind of like anything else, right? It's like the people that you're around it when it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're around good people, it just makes everything better. And I had a good crew, a really good platoon, and we had a lot of fun, and it was great. It was super. It was super rewarding. It was rewarding work, hard work, but yeah, I look back on that, and I look at it like yeah, it was a positive experience. But it kind of came down to the point. It's like I didn't see myself maybe doing that for the next 30 years. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's when Fire opened up, when Fire was hiring. I was like, hey, well, I kind of went in with the mindset. I got nothing to lose. I got a great career. You know what I mean? So it's just like, hey, let's apply
Yeah.
and see what happens. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to get that job, and never looked back after that. But it's yeah. But looking back on policing, it was rewarding work, but it was um, definitely super challenging. I have nothing but respect for everybody in law enforcement, for sure.
And I think it gives you a different perspective of being a firefighter now because you know what police officers go through, right? And there's I think a lot of the reason why like a lot of hockey players or firefighters or like guys who play sports is like the camaraderie, right? The teamwork, the and how like the empathy and the selflessness, and you're there for one another's. And I think like for what I think you're in a very unique situation because you've done both at a high level, right? And I think when you kind of think about it, what are some of the similarities with the two?
Well, like you said, like the first of all, the camaraderie. You know what I mean? Like, so like the people that you work with is like that part of it is very similar. Um, it's kind of like it's an easy transition going from hockey to emergency services, in a sense, because it's almost like you're in a room with your friends. You know what I mean? It's like in the dressing room. It's kind of like that. You know what I mean? You got the same kind of banter. You know what I mean? You got the same jokes, and it's just everybody feeding off each other, and it's a fun environment to be in at the end of the day. You know, so yeah, I'd say that's probably like the biggest similarity. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like that feeling of just being around your coworkers, or being around your teammates. You know what I mean? It's very, very
Mhm.
similar.
It's like a brotherhood sisterhood kind of
Absolutely.
thing,
Yeah,
and
100%.
I
Yeah.
think the cool thing about both of them is like you guys are a team and there for each other and have each other's back, and I think that's special. And it's like that with sports too, right? You can't win a championship just with one player. You need everyone to buy into the system to be able to pull their own weight, to contribute in the best way that they can and give 100%. And I think like first aid responders are like that, right? And you have to be there for one another and be selfless and courageous. And I think having all those qualities, I think it's really admirable, and being able to have a positive impact on the community day in and day out. I think it's super special. If I was able body, I think I would like to do one of those, or do work in the military or something like that. I think those kind of positions to be able to help people and serve. I think it would be pretty awesome to do. But I wanted to kind of ask a little bit about like being in these roles. Like what how has it changed you as a person? Like your outlook on life.
Well, like I said, like especially like when I was a cop, like I said, like you deal with people at their worst, right? Like more often than
Mhm.
not, you're whenever you're going to a call, somebody's having a bad day, you know. So I guess when because that side, you don't necessarily see that side, in regular life. You know what I mean? You're just kind of out and about, and you know what I mean. You don't necessarily see that or see people at their worst day in and day out. Whereas in policing, I did. So I think it kind of changed my perspective in the sense that I realized how fortunate I was. You know what I mean? Like here these people are going through a really tough time, and and we're dealing with a situation, but I can't look back and say like, oh, I've ever gone through that. And I think it was just like made me kind of realize how fortunate I was in a sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That you know what I mean? Like that I didn't I wasn't going through what these people are going through in a sense. And yeah, I guess that's probably been the biggest the biggest thing as far as like shaping, just kind of like, just like a feeling of just gratefulness, and feeling super fortunate for the people that I have in my life and the experiences that I've had, and just knowing that it's not the case for everybody kind of sense. So like that's the way it affected me the most for sure.
And I think that's a great thing to kind of mention, is to be grateful for what we have, right? And living those experiences as a police officer, as a firefighter, some of the stuff that you guys see, no one should ever see, right? And to kind of I was talking to a buddy about this yesterday, is like dealing. He's a police officer as well,
Mhm.
but like dealing with everything that we deal with. Sometimes we go through issues and we have problems, but I was telling him I seen a quote one time, and it said like, imagine if you were in a room with 10 people, and all those 10 people would throw their problems in a circle, and then you one by one you had the opportunity to pick any problems that you wanted. 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, you would pick your own problems because they're not as bad as everyone else, right? And sometimes we go through things and we think we have it so hard, but there's someone that has it a lot harder. And I think just to try to be grateful and have that perspective.
Yeah,
Uh, to,
I
to,
couldn't have said it any better, and that's exactly it. Like just being in that role just gave me a totally different perspective. You know what I mean of what you know what I mean, different issues and everything, and it just like I couldn't have said it any better. Like that was well said.
well, thank
Yeah,
you. But
you took exactly what I was trying to say and said it way better, basically.
you're doing great, and this is awesome. Like this, I know I know I don't mean to butter you up, but like I feel like when I'm around you, like it's just like calm, it's like like when you're around good people, like your heart feels so good, and that's kind of how I feel.
Oh, buddy,
Like it's
buddy,
just
I told you this. I told you this. It's mutual. It's very much mutual. Okay, and I appreciate you saying those things, but I'm telling you right now, it's like you have that effect on absolutely everybody,
oh, thank
for
you.
sure,
And
for sure.
I wouldn't be able to do it without friends like you and people that I look up to. So I appreciate it. Yeah, it means the
Oh,
world to me more than
I
you ever
appreciate
know.
you, buddy. Come on.
But I also, just to kind of wrap up, with the police and the firefighter, like like that whole chapter of your life, and I wanted to maybe ask, like, would you have some advice for like a young person trying to go into policing or in firefighting or public service? Like, what would be like a piece of advice that you would give someone?
Uh, that's a good question. I would say like because I mean it's still a very competitive field to get into, right? So
Hmm.
my advice would be just kind of try to resume build like as much as you can. Like like when I was still in school, and I kind of had in the back of my mind that this is what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? I was volunteering and with St. John Ambulance just to get my medical skills up to par. I was doing volunteer firefighting, so I was getting exposed to what I mean, to certain kind of calls and stuff. So just kind of basically try to get your feet wet as much as you can in that kind of field, and yeah, and you just keep working towards it, and obviously it's a great job, and like I said, like it is a competitive field to get into, but it doesn't matter. You're never too old to get into the field, I guess. So just like if this is what you want to do, say your mind to it, keep working at it. Like I said, like just try to gain as much experience as you can. You know what I mean in the field, and then just keep working at it, and stick with it, and stick with it because some people are very fortunate and get hired at a very young age, but and then some people will get hired later in life, but regardless, it's never too late. It's never too late, and just absolutely stick with it, and it'll be worth it at the end of the day.
I love that. Stick with it, and it's never too late, right? And I think that's great advice for anyone and everyone, right? And if you want to do something in life, it's never too late. And if you put your mind to it, we can achieve anything. And we just gotta believe in ourselves. And when and I think, like, going piggybacking off what you said, is like the best time to do it is now, right?
Mhm.
Because we can't change the past, or we don't know what the future is going to hold. And I think, just trying to do the best we can with what we have. And like you said a couple times in this podcast, what do you have to lose, right? And I think having that mentality is like burning the ship, so to say. Like, there's like this old war saying, like there's a group that want to take over the island, so to say, and the captain says, burn all the ships because we're taking over the island. And you can't go back because all the ships are gone, right? You don't have a choice to kind of just to keep moving forward and take it over, so to say. And I always kind of think about that. If I want to do something, burn the ships, you have no other option. Just try to move ahead and try to do the best you can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to look at it, and like that's basically like that kind of mindset is kind of got me to where I am now. You know what I mean? It's just kind of the having that positive outlook, and it's just like, hey, what do I have to lose? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And yeah, obviously, super fortunate, and it's a great it's a great mindset to have. That you go into anything with that kind of mindset, you're going to be in good shape. You know.
And mentioning like being who you are today, kind of thing. And I always ask guests and about this when they hop on the podcast, is you're such an interesting person to me, and but I wanted to kind of ask, like because of the person you are, like you're genuine, you're such a helpful person, and like you have so many great values within you. Who were some of the people that kind of helped you shape you who you are today? Maybe like your family and maybe in regards to hockey or your professional career.
Oh yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'd have to say my family. Um, you know what I mean? They kind of gave me like that kind of they put me down the right path. You know what I mean? With the right values, the right mindset, and everything. They first and foremost shaped me into who I am, and then obviously throughout, whether it's my job or school or hockey, I've always been around like phenomenal people. It's hard to pinpoint kind of one person. You know what I mean? But um, one person that does come to mind for me personally, that affected me probably the most in hockey, and had that crossover into my personal life is Scott Murray, who was my goalie coach with the Wolves my last couple of years that I was there, and then I worked with him a little bit more with Laurentian too, and he's in the NHL now. He's working with the
No
yeah,
way.
he's working with the Capitals. He's been there his first year in the NHL. He won a Stanley Cup with the Capitals. That was back in 2018. Yeah.
That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, and but all that to say, like, not surprising. You know what I mean? The kind of human being that this guy is. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that he found this kind of success is like
Wow.
not surprising at all to me. He had a massive impact on me as a goalie and as a human. And yeah, he probably he's just an unbelievable guy. And obviously he's living out there now, right outside Washington.
Okay.
And but we still keep touch. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things. Like life kind of happens. Life gets busy, but whenever we get together, and it's been a while now. I'm gonna have to reach out to him and see when he's back in town. It probably won't be until the end of the season next year, but yeah, it's like we pick up right where we left off, and yeah, he had a massive impact on me as an athlete and as a person.
Mm.
And but honestly, like everybody that I've always tried to surround myself with good people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like good buddies. Obviously, my friends. My fiance and stuff like that. They're just I always try to surround myself with really really good people, and I've been fortunate enough that that I have these people in my life, and they really shape me into who I am at the end of the day. And yeah, it's I I yeah, it's yeah. I guess it's kind of that going back to that feeling of like just like being like kind of grateful. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And just having those people in my life, and yeah,
And I think like they always say like great people attract great people, right? And I think whether it's I remember you in the locker room or and you talking about your experiences, and I always joke it's like you're the glue guy, right? You bring everyone together, and I think like, you say like you surround yourself with great positive people, but I think you're one of those people that brings everything together and makes everything that much more special, kind of thing. And I think being able to doing what you do and seeing what you see on a shift to shift basis, and like how do you keep that you always your positive energy, your positive outlook, even in like high pressure environments.
it's funny you say that, like in the room and stuff, like because there's always like sometimes dressing rooms could be like a little bit cliquey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you say like a glue guy. I think I was kind of oblivious to a fault sometimes, in the sense that I just got along with everybody. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's just like, hey, bring people together. I wanted everybody there.
And
Because I got along with everybody, and that wasn't the case for everyone. But I always loved getting everybody together, and maybe I was oblivious to the fact that maybe like these two guys don't get along or whatever. I didn't care.
yeah.
You know.
You're coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
All
Exactly.
aboard, and you guys are jumping on the train.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I think I was maybe like oblivious to a fault. I feel like I'm, like socially, that's what I love. I just love being around people. I love
Yeah.
having people together, and it's like I didn't care if where you came from or whatever. It's I feel like I could kind of get along with everybody. And yeah, I guess that was kind of one of the things in the room that I kind of brought to the table. You know what I mean? And I think it's probably similar, like similar thing at work. You know what I mean? Like I get along with everybody. I could work with anybody, and it's just it's and I think my experience, with hockey, and like I said, being around the room and being around teammates and all that kind of thing was like an easy transition. And I think I veered off your question there a little bit. If you want to ask it again, I'm kind of going on a rant, but
I think that's good. I think that's what, like, when people talk about you, I think they always say like, Al was a great teammate, or Al was a great coworker, he's just a great guy. And I think those are like the best compliments, right? It's not just about sport. Oh yeah, he was a good goalie, he was a good person, he was a good teammate, right? And I think that's what you want to be remembered for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. You don't have to thank me, because it's true.
What's that?
I said, you don't have to thank me, it's true.
Oh, jeez, come on.
But the question that I asked, like with your positive energy and your happy-go-lucky attitude, and like, how do you keep your positive energy during like high pressure moments, whether it was with hockey or whether it was with being with your job today?
You know what? It just I think you just got to really love what you do. You know what I mean? Like when I was playing hockey, I loved it. You know what I mean? It was what I knew, is what I wanted to do, and I really enjoyed it. I had fun. You know what I mean? And it's kind of the same thing at work. Is it doesn't necessarily feel like work because I really enjoy what I do. You know what I mean, on a daily basis. So, and I think a lot of that, like having to deal with like the pressure and stuff like that, I think that just comes with, like for me anyways, it just came with experience. You know what I mean? So once you kind of do it enough, it kind of becomes a little bit second nature, and you're prepared enough. Everything just kind of comes a lot easier to you, and then the pressure side of it kind of goes away, and like the nerves that you feel are just like excitement, like we talked about before, right? So yeah, that's always been the kind of the way that I look at it. And I've been really lucky in the sense that I just, whatever I did, I always really enjoyed doing it. So it kind of always came natural in a sense.
And I think that's a common thing, right? When you enjoy what you do, it doesn't really feel like work, and it doesn't feel like a burden, or it doesn't feel like you have to. It's not that you have to, it's because you want to. And I think that's a huge difference. And I know I've taken a lot of your time so far, but the way I kind of end this, I always ask maybe one or two questions. But I wanted to ask, like, if you have one piece of advice for someone that's chasing their dream, no matter how big or how small it could be, because you realize multiple of your dreams so far in your young life, like being able to have your dream job as a firefighter, being able to play in the OHL at high levels of hockey, and being able to live experiences like what's like a younger self or a younger person maybe listening, saying like what would be a piece of advice to say, like, to chase your dreams?
I would say whatever it is that you're trying to do, just put the time in. If you put the time in, and you have that kind of work ethic, and you have that drive, you'll get rewarded at the end of the day. So yeah, I would say, one piece of advice: put the time in.
I love it. And then the last one is a a lot of people kind of sometimes have a hard time answering this one, but because I find, and a lot of other people find that you inspire so many people, and then you're just a good-hearted person. How do you want to inspire the next generation of good-hearted people?
It's a good question. I would say just through, like by example, you know what I mean? Like even like sometimes I feel like even when I was, you know, playing hockey or whatever, you know, I wasn't always like the most vocal guy in the room, you know, but I feel like I was able to lead by example in a sense, right? So yeah, I think that kind of carries over through life, and that's kind of how I feel that I would, you know, influence people. It's just by, you know, doing what I do, and you know what I mean, putting in effort at what I do, and just kind of leading by example that way. I think that if I were to influence anybody, I think it'd be through that, just by, you know, being a quiet leader in a sense.
And sometimes a quiet leader is speaks volumes, right? And it's the loudest by action, right? It's not by saying, it's by doing, and being a good role model and being a positive example for everyone. And I think you do that on a day-to-day basis.
That's the goal. I appreciate that, buddy. That's the goal. Yeah, I try to do anyways.
And you don't try, you do, and I'm so happy for everything that's going on with you, and having with you being a new dad with Olivia, and your life that you built with Nell, and I couldn't be prouder of you and happier for you. And no one deserves it more than you do.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, like I'm super fortunate, and like obviously like I said, you know, earlier, I don't know if we were recording that, but I said like the feeling is mutual. You know what I mean? Like the like what you bring to the table, and on a day to day, and everybody that walks into your store, like, are you kidding me? Like I absolutely love what you're doing. I love seeing you whenever you know, whenever I come in, you know, and you know, I come in for a hat, and then we end up chatting for an hour. Love it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's absolutely the best. Obviously, like I love what you're doing. Couldn't be happier for you. And obviously, I really appreciate you having me on here. And it's been
it's awesome. An honor, and I think it's going to give people a great perspective, and the people that are listening that know you will already know all of this amazing things. But I think this whole podcast is to give a platform to amazing people that are doing amazing things, and you're one of those guys. So it's perfect, and I perfectly end it, and I appreciate you very, very, very much.
No, it's the host. It's the host that's amazing. It's the host.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. Hey, you don't have to thank me because it's true. Hey, is that what you said earlier? It's just true. I'm just throwing out facts now.
You're spitting my words on me.
100%, dude.
It's awesome. I love it. Thank you, buddy.
Oh, thank you.